Hello and welcome to the next edition of Parent Aid. My name is Becky Riddell and I am the Learning Area Manager for GCSE English and Mathematics across college. During this webinar we'll be going through how you can help your son or daughter revise for their exams in both GCSE English and in GCSE Maths. In the webinar, I will be accompanied by one of our lecturers, Marcel Satel, who will be talking about literacy skills and how to improve. Before I go through the ins and outs of how to help your son or daughter achieve in both English and Maths, firstly I want you to take you through the assessment model. So for GCSE Maths there are 3 papers. These are all sat in May and June of 2021 and they all have a weighting of 33.3%. There is 1 non-calculator paper and 2 calculator papers. Each lasts 1 hour and 30 minutes. Your son or daughter will be entered at one of 2 levels, either the foundation level, which covers grades 1 to 5, or the higher level, which covers grades 4 to 9. Most of our students here at SGS go in at the foundation level, but we will assess learners to check if the higher level is suitable for them. The GCSE Mathematics paper covers 6 content areas. These are number, algebra, ratio, proportion and rates of change, geometry and measures, probability and statistics. As part of the exam, there are a number of different questions that a student may be faced with. These can range from multiple choice questions to calculation questions that are based in both mathematical and non-mathematical contexts. One of the key issues in maths is that learners don't always show their working out, so it's important to remember that when revising or when completing the papers in the summer, that all steps are shown in getting to the answer. All areas of content, the 6 areas mentioned before, number, algebra, ratio, proportion and rates of change, geometry and measure, probability and statistics, will be assessed over all 3 papers. And as mentioned before, there is 1 non-calculator paper and this is the first paper in the series, and this is followed by 2 calculator papers. It is important to note here that when a learner is sitting GCSE Maths, they do have to sit all 3 papers at the same tier level. Before we go through how we can help your son or daughter, it's important to understand the main issues that learners face. One of the main issues for learners in the exams is actually the interpretation and lack of knowledge they have around key mathematical terminology. For example, they often don't know the difference between product, factor, multiple, the difference between simple interest and compound interest, what is perpendicular, mapped or invariant point. So a good place to start with some maths revision is to look at some of the key terms, and these can be accessed through the Edexcel website, and also our staff members do create revision cards with learners and looking through them and making sure that learners understand and know what to do when they see some of these terms. Some of the wider issues that our learners face are actually around diagrams. Learners often don't complete diagrams with pencil and instead opt to use a pen. Now this is a problem because if a learner makes a mistake, you often find that they can't rub it out when they've utilised a pen and will therefore feel that they can't go back and recomplete that question and will need to move on. This can mean that they often lose a couple of marks on something which is quite straightforward. Other issues that learners face when they draw diagrams is that they forget to put the curves on them, or they don't draw curves that join up all the points, or they misread the scales on the graphs, or alternatively they don't draw an accurate diagram. So therefore it's important that learners practice doing diagrams, they practice drawing graphs, they practice labelling graphs and putting the right units of measure and scales along the side. This can often be improved through just attempting past paper questions on these areas. So what is the best way to revise for GCSE Maths? Well, actually, we think that the best place to start is by trying out a test paper, because working through that test paper will allow us to find out what support is needed for your son or daughter. It will allow us to identify topics that we need to work on, and these topics can then be filled in, or we can plug the gaps in using some of our services such as MathsWatch, online textbooks, the Pearson Revise app, at the teacher and worked examples, or even other websites such as Maths Genie. Once we've then gone through and identified those topics, like I said, we can plug in the gaps that are existent in knowledge and ensure that learners have clarified their understanding of these areas. We can then go back into a testing phase again and check that now those particular skills have been learnt. And if the learner is feeling more confident, happier, and that those skills have been learnt, then we can go back to finding out what other topics need to be worked on. Our maths teachers would say that one of the best things a learner can do is practice. Practice can come in many different forms, but one of the ones that we like to recommend is the Core Bit 5 a day. Core Bit 5 a day is a strategy that come about from Core Bit Maths, where they provide 5 questions for learners to do each day. These are put together at different levels, so you can access ones or questions for both foundation and higher tiers, or ones that focus on the grade 4-5 boundary or 3-4 boundary specifically. These can be printed or done through the Core Bit Maths website. Core Bit Maths also provides some revision cards which can be purchased and are quite useful in assisting learners for their exams. There are many other different ways learners can revise, and we would recommend that learners download the Pearson Revise app. The Pearson Revise app is free to all learners that complete the Edexcel specification, which is the specification that we do, and the Pearson Revise app provides bite-sized chunks of revision that take approximately 10 minutes each. They provide questions and they let you know when a topic has been nailed or when further work is required. So this is a great way of identifying those topics that need to be studied for the exam in the summer. All of our learners here at SGS College have a MathsWatch account, and this can be accessed initially by typing in their user number, so 000000 at SGS Col. No ac.uk is required for this, and by using their date of birth as their password. If they are unsure on how to access their MathsWatch account, then please just speak to their teacher, who will be able to reset the password for them. This is where all homeworks are done, but this is also where learners can undertake some additional revision, undertake tests, and undertake exam questions. There are video clips here for every piece of the specification for learners to watch at their leisure. Another great resource for GCSE Maths is the use of On Maths. Now, On Maths is a paper-based website. So this website, when you go onto it, will give you exam papers. You complete the exam papers on the website and it will mark it for you as you go along, showing you where you've achieved a grade or what is needed to be done in order to help you improve. You can do this for full topics, and there are often predicted papers that appear on there as well for both November and summer series, as well as some topic busting exercises and topic boost activities. As mentioned in the previous slide, learners can also access Core Bit Maths, where there are an array of questions that learners can undertake in order to help them practice and improve in their mathematical and numeracy skills. And finally, there are lots of maths teachers on YouTube. These YouTube videos are really good, and learners can access them on the bus at any time, or in the evening, and these would be useful at showing methods that learners can use that are maybe alternative to ones they've utilised in class, or can help learners to reinforce their knowledge around structure and presentation of answers. There are 2 papers for GCSE English Language. Each paper is an hour and 45 minutes each. They have 80 marks worth of questions on each paper and are both worth 50% of the overall GCSE grade. These are complemented by a non-examined assessment in speaking and listening, where an endorsement upon completion is provided alongside the GCSE certificate. For these 2 papers, they both have reading and writing sections. On paper 1, there is 1 single text for reading, where there is 1 short form question, 2 longer form questions, and 1 extended question. There is then 1 writing piece, where 24 marks are awarded for content and 16 marks are awarded for technical accuracy. In the second paper, again, it follows a similar structure where 40 marks are awarded for reading and 40 marks are awarded for writing. This time though, as opposed to being 1 single text as we see in paper 1, there are 2 linked texts. There are questions about these texts which come in the form of one short form question, which is worth 4 marks, 2 longer form questions, one worth 8 marks and one worth 12 marks, and one extended question of 16 marks. There is then a writing section where there is an extended piece of writing that needs to be done. 24 marks again are awarded for content and 16 marks are awarded for technical accuracy. Some of the best ways to help your son or daughter revise for their GCSE English exam is by using a platform called Seneca Learning. Seneca Learning provides learning that goes through all aspects of the GCSE English language specification step by step, and learners can pick up at any time. There are also additional resources such as those provided by Mr. Brough. Mr. Brough provides many YouTube tutorials for GCSE English language texts. There is also BBC Bitesize, Revision Biz, the AQA website and Tuition Kit. Tuition Kit provides again English language YouTube tutorials. One of the best things learners can do though to help them with their GCSE English language is to undertake some reading outside the classroom. Reading can come in the form of fiction or non-fiction text. This will help to improve their lexis, improve their dialogue and also improve their vocabulary. All of these things combined will help with their fluency and their technical accuracy when writing. Finally, learners can also do some practice papers. These can be found on the AQA website under the assessment materials. There are also mark schemes available for these, or our tutors are happy to assist. I will now be handing over to Marcel, where he'll be talking to you about the importance of literacy and how you can help your son or daughter.
Hello, my name is Marcel. Welcome to our first GCSE English language webinar. Today I'll be giving a short introduction to literacy skills and why they're important to us. So let's start with the question, what is literacy? Well, literacy is the ability to effectively understand and communicate ideas through the process of reading, writing and speaking and listening. Whether it be for pleasure or academic purposes, if we engage in active reading, we are able to broaden our understanding of the world around us and stimulate our interest in an unimaginable amount of topics. Reading also helps us to develop our voice. The more widely we read, the more opinions we develop. The more opinions we develop, the more our character develops. The potential for personal development is limitless. So, what do we do with all this new knowledge? We share it. That's where writing comes in. Again, whether for pleasure or academic purposes, writing is where we leave our mark. A written expression of our voice, if you like. Our literal voice is the literacy skill we use the most. We're constantly asking questions and listening for answers, giving our opinion, or just laughing and joking with friends. Independently, these skills are amazing skills to have. Combined, they are the key to personal growth and success. And literacy skills play a big part in learning. So let's look at how important they are for education. It's important for teachers and lecturers to communicate their ideas clearly, both verbally and with well-written and appropriate resources and activities. The question and answer aspect of speaking and listening is important to clarify these ideas, and this comes to the fore in peer discussion and evaluation, which really form a real part of this. Written expression in the form of simple or extended writing activities is a tried and tested way which can gauge understanding and is also an important part of giving feedback and setting targets. And verbal expression also works in a similar way, but it's more spontaneous and dynamic, which can lead to exciting developments and progression of ideas. It's important, though, not to confuse literacy with English. English, as with all subjects, has its own aims, objectives and outcomes. It also uses its own technical vocabulary or words associated with that particular area of study. It's safe to say that literacy has its foundations in English, but it's not limited to the study of English. The skills can be transferred to any subject. So whether your child is studying hair and beauty, animal care, business and IT, games design, sports and public services, creative design, having a good grasp of literacy skills can really open up their subject for them. And for the same reasons, good literacy skills are important for future employment. No matter what your child's vocational pathway is, good literacy skills will, undoubtedly, play a significant role in getting them there and helping them to effectively communicate with their colleagues. But it doesn't stop there. Good literacy skills are important for socialising in everyday life, whether it be discussing your football team's recent success or who should have really won the Great British Bake Off, to more mundane things like paying bills and sorting out car insurance. Good literacy skills are a must. So how can we improve them? Over the coming weeks we'll be taking this to task, but today I'd like to focus on reading. In general terms, we read to acquire the understanding of something new. This is generally reading for academic purposes or even when we read newspapers. Today, however, I'm going to focus on reading for pleasure, which I believe is a great way to improve literacy. And I'm going to share a few ideas on how you can support your child to do this. So, what should we read? Although they do have their place in English as a subject, reading tweets and Facebook statuses don't really cut it here. We need to delve a little deeper. And here is a list of good places to start. You might consider novels, short stories, biographies, or travel writing. The first novel in the English language was written in the late 15th century, so we literally have hundreds of years of novels to choose from, so there should be something there for everyone. If you're not a confident reader yet, and I stress yet, you may want to consider short stories or the Goodreads series, which offer a range of accessible short texts. Fiction may not be for everyone, so biographies and travel writing are a great way to get your child interested in reading. I've had many students who have taken a new interest in reading after reading their favourite celebrity's biography. Okay, even then, engagement can still be a problem. So I'm going to share 4 strategies that you can use with your child. Whether you're a parent, guardian, carer or sibling, your input is necessary for these activities. I believe a shared activity expresses commitment and support. And I know it's difficult to be both teacher and parent during lockdown, but I sincerely believe that a little preparation will help set your child up to be an independent reader, which is a skill that they will enjoy for the rest of their lives. So let's look at the first technique. The first technique I'd like to share is the concept of prediction. This helps to transition from passive to active reading by recalling events from the past to predict future events, and it's a really good way of keeping your child engaged with the story. Perhaps you could read a chapter together with your child to discuss what you think is going to happen next. I've done this many times with my daughter, and we've had wildly different expectations on what's going to happen. It's a great way to inspire further reading and let your child know that you're on board. The second technique, or completion, requires a little bit more preparation, but can be done with newspaper articles or magazine articles, or if you have the availability, a photocopy of the opening paragraph of a chapter of the book that your child might be reading. For this activity, you need to delete keywords and phrases in the text and ask your child to select alternative words to complete the sentences. This helps to encourage close reading and develop a sense of nuance in meanings and the subtle differences in words. The right choice of words can have a real impact on the overall meaning. So your child should read around the gaps, look for the general mood, the general tone of the piece, and then come up with an alternative or suitable word or phrase that they think will complete the gap. The next activity is summarising. Another good engagement activity. I often use this in my classroom teaching as, again, it helps with the transition from passive to active reading. Your child could write up this as a simplified version for a younger audience or sibling and in turn inspire them to read. So they get to the end of their chapter, summarise what they've written and then deliver it. In this activity, they take on the role of a teacher also, which develops their speaking and listening social skills in addition to their reading skills, continuing to build up their confidence. And the final tip then, it's more of an extended project maybe. It's where your child takes an important aspect of the book or the travel writing or the biography that they're reading and convert it to a newspaper article. And this activity does lend itself really well to travel writing and biographies. There are many websites out there that show how to lay out a newspaper article and what it should contain. And I think a good place to start would be the GCSE pages on the BBC Bite Size website. The objective of this activity is, again, to encourage your child to engage in close reading and understanding key aspects of the text that they're engaging with. Okay, that brings this webinar to a close today. Thank you for attending. I hope you found it useful in some kind of way, and I'd love to hear from you if you've successfully used any of these techniques in today's webinar, or if you have any techniques that you would like to share yourself. You can contact me at marcel.seltel@sgscol.ac.uk. Once again, thanks for attending. Stay safe and well. See you next week. Take care.
On top of the specific websites given to you for both English and Maths, it's important to help out at home. Ways in which you can help out at home include setting up a space for your son or daughter to revise in. This should be a quiet space that's free from distractions. This might be somewhere like the dining room table or up in their bedroom. We would say that when learners are doing revision that they should put their phones away or certainly put it into a mode such as the in-flight mode so they are free from distractions. Practicing now just 20 minutes per day per subject will really help your son or daughter to achieve in the 2021 examinations. We would also suggest putting together a revision timetable and encouraging those small bouts of revision that I've just mentioned. These revision periods should last no longer than 30 to 40 minutes unless they're undertaking an extended writing task. One of the best ways you can help your son or daughter is by sitting and listening to them. Ask them about what they've been doing in college today. Ask them, do they know how to do X or Y? Ask them, can they show they're working out when doing expansion of brackets or simplification of algebraic equations? If they can demonstrate to you that they know this, they're more likely to be able to retain this information and therefore reproduce it under exam conditions. We'd also like to ask at this time that you check the dates of each exam and keep them clear of family holidays, and it might be worth keeping a record of them somewhere that you can see them easily and refer to them when at home. We will give each learner an exam timetable nearer the time, and this will let them know what tier they've been entered for and where they are both roomed and sat in each examination. Finally, I'd like to encourage plenty of sleep for your son, daughter or child that you look after, as well as healthy eating. The college does offer free school meals and pupil premium, and it is important that if you do need to access any of these services that you go back and look at MMS to see if your son or daughter or the person you care for is eligible. Eating and sleeping well ensures that they are in the best mindset for learning and can retain as much information as possible, but also so they can produce what they need to in lessons. At college, we can also help out. We run additional revision sessions, and these will take place a lot later on during the year. We'll also undertake some revision sessions over Easter, which will be hopefully in a face-to-face manner. At college, we also have English and Maths extra support, and this is a series of 10 1-hour one-to-one sessions that can take place either for English, Maths, or both. If you would like your son or daughter or the person you look after to have access to these sessions, then please just ask them to get in contact with their tutor, who can fill in a total support guarantee form. Our Learning Resource Centre also offers study skills support, which can be accessed by speaking to one of the librarians or the members of LRC staff. We also undertake some maths and English in tutorial, as well as offering a CUTE programme. The CUTE programme is a catch-up to education programme which has been funded by the government to help plug in learners' knowledge. Your son or daughter will have been approached by their tutor if they want to access this, and this again compromises of 5 1-hour support sessions in small groups. Before I provide you with the exam dates, I think it's important to note that the biggest thing we can do to encourage success is to ensure that your son, daughter, or the young person that you look after is in regular attendance. Regular attendance throughout the year will help to ensure that the learners remain on track, they're up to date with coursework and homework, and they get the maximum amount of time they can with their teachers. If your son or daughter does have to be off through illness or through COVID, please do speak to the college about any support which we can give them in order for them to catch up on work missed. Finally, I would like to leave you with the provisional exam dates for 2021. So for mathematics, they are Thursday the 27th of May, Monday the 7th of June, and Monday the 21st of June. You can see there that the one on the Thursday the 27th of May is in the morning.